Hi, my name's Tim Hunt. I'm the CEO at the Alliance for Regenerative Medicine, and today I am here with Sam Semenkow, who's one of the leading analysts, Wall Street analysts in the field with Citi. So, Sam, welcome to ARM Studios and the meeting on the Mesa. Thanks for coming in.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
You've been around the conference a little bit yesterday and today, just at a very high level. What are your kind of key takeaways from both of those events?
Yeah, so, I was fortunate enough to participate in the analyst panel at the start of the conference. I'd say, listening to the other analysts on the stage, in addition to some of the things that I said, with some investors on stage and their own panel, as well as CEOs, a big takeaway is that we all, I think, really want to see this field move forward, and sharing sort of the perspectives from each of our individual seats, so mine being the analysts, the CEOs, and also the investors that help seed some of these early stage companies. We all want to share our experience to really help the field move forward. I would say from an analyst perspective, investors are not, the engagement isn't as high as it has been in the past, but it is still there. And I think it's definitely focused on a indication by indication, company by company perspective right now. And I think that, with some wins in the space, that could maybe translate into a more broader sort of acceptance of what the field is moving forward, particularly because there is a lot of really good innovation happening here. Timelines do take some time to move these therapies forward, but from my perspective, we are starting to see some really decent data coming out of many of the original gene editing companies. Cell therapy is working really well in autoimmune in particular. So I do think that there's a lot to be excited about.
Yeah. Well, just building on that, tell us more, just focusing on cell therapy for a moment, tell us more, what gives you optimism about the field of cell therapy?
Yeah, so I think we have a lot of engagement from many, many companies. And what's great across the board, particularly for autologous CAR T in the autoimmune space, is that it's working really well. We see these patients having remissions, drug-free remissions, out to 3-4 years for some of the earlier patients that have been dosed. And I think you can, envision a world where, there is a treatment for some of these very severe patients that are refractory from everything else available. Sort of the counter to that in the autoimmune cell therapy space specifically is there is a lot of competition. And I think, dealing from an investor's perspective, trying to figure out which of these CAR Ts is going to be the one that is going to, be successful commercially, it is a challenge right now. But what's interesting is we also have a bunch of modalities outside of the traditional CAR T. We have some bispecifics that are coming down the pipeline. We have in vivo CAR T that is just getting started in a lot of ways. So there's a ton of innovation here, and it's an exciting space. When you kind of step back
and either with your investor hat on or just thinking about the cell and gene therapy field broadly, what do you think what is sort of missing from the popular narrative that could be improved? Maybe advice you'd give to me or other people in the field.
One thing I hear from investors is that the severe population for autoimmune diseases is probably too small to support a business model. I don't think anybody knows fully what that population size is, and obviously it's going to be different from indication to indication, but I do think that the severity of these autoimmune patients is a real problem that does deserve to be treated by a novel mechanism like this. There are some patients that, unfortunately, the mortality rate is higher in these indications. Right. And there's a huge quality of life aspect too. Some patients are cycled through all these therapies and yet nothing has worked, and they're unable to work and they're unable to do a lot of the daily tasks of living. So, the population that could be helped by these therapies, I don't want to say that it's too small to support a commercial activity, although it might be too small to support multiple players in it. Now, I mentioned from earlier the lymphodepletion piece. If we could remove some of that, that expands the populations that could be targeted with these therapies. So I just think that as we iterate over the coming years on what these therapies can do, how to make them most accessible, we'll start to see the market evolving with that.
Great, perfect. That'll be the last word. Thank you, Sam, very much for coming in, for spending some time with us here at our meeting on the Mesa and at ARM Studios.
Thank you so much for having me.
Great.